The first prisoner vanished before morning count. The second disappeared after the laundry detail. And when the third man's empty boots were found beside a locked storage shed with mud still wet on the soles, the guards claimed it was escape. But no fence was cut, no tunnel was found, and the camp captain had already sent for Patton before anyone could explain why men were leaving no trail except the things they were forced to leave behind. The first missing prisoner was noticed at sunrise, when the count stopped at Barracks 4 and one number did not answer. The guards searched the bunks first, then the washroom, then the latrine trench, but no one found a coat, blanket, or sign that the man had prepared to escape. The captain ordered the fence checked, and the patrol reported that the wire was untouched, the ground below it was clean, and no footprints led toward the outer road. The missing man's bunk was stripped in front of the barracks leader, and the clerk found his spoon, letters, and work card still tucked beneath the mattress. That made no sense, because no prisoner planning escape would leave behind the one card required to pass work detail checks outside the compound. The captain questioned the men beside his bunk, but each prisoner gave the same answer, saying the missing man had gone to sleep after evening count and never returned to the morning line. The camp doctor entered the barracks after hearing the name and reported that the missing man had visited the infirmary 2 days earlier with bruises he refused to explain. Before noon, the captain canceled all work details and ordered a second count by barracks, then by work crew, then by infirmary record. The prisoners watched the repeated counts with growing fear, because an escape alarm usually meant sirens, dogs, and roadblocks, but this time the gates stayed closed. At midday, the captain sent a report to headquarters saying one German POW was missing inside a locked camp with no visible escape route. By evening, the camp had not found a man outside the wire, but had found a question no officer wanted to answer. How could a prisoner disappear without leaving the camp? Subscribe for more forgotten German POW stories like this one. The escalation began the next afternoon, when a second prisoner failed to return from the laundry detail, even though the detail had never left the inner compound. The laundry room was searched first, and military police found a wet shirt, a broken button, and a smear of soap across the rear door handle. The rear door was supposed to remain bolted from the outside, but the bolt had been lifted and placed back so carefully that only the scrape marks showed it had moved. The captain ordered the laundry crew separated, and one frightened prisoner admitted that 2 guards had entered during the washing shift and told everyone to keep their faces down. That statement turned the case away from escape and toward something happening under guard movement. A search of the storage sheds uncovered a boot print in wet mud matching neither prisoner's shoes nor standard guard boots. The print led only 3 steps, then vanished near a stack of empty ration crates pushed against a wall. The captain had the crates moved and found a narrow service passage behind them, sealed by a door no longer listed on the camp map. Inside the passage, military police found cigarette ash, a torn prisoner's sleeve, and a length of rope tied to a wall hook. The prisoners began shouting when the evidence was carried out, because everyone understood the missing men may have been taken through a place no prisoner knew existed. The captain placed outside MPs on the laundry, storage shed, and infirmary, then ordered every guard who held keys questioned separately. Before nightfall, he sent a second urgent message, warning that 2 prisoners had disappeared from inside the compound, and a hidden passage had been found behind the storage sheds. The major consequence came before dawn, when the 3rd prisoner vanished from a barracks transfer line during a foggy movement to the infirmary. This time the camp reacted immediately, and the captain ordered all gates locked, all guards held at their posts, and every prisoner returned to a fixed location. The third man's boots were found beside the locked storage shed, lined neatly against the wall, with mud still wet on the soles. The doctor identified the boots as belonging to a prisoner who had been scheduled to give a statement about the bruises on the first missing man. That connection changed the case completely, because the disappearances were no longer random or medical confusion. The captain ordered a full search of guard quarters, and military police found a hidden key ring inside a footlocker belonging to a night sergeant. The key ring opened the service passage, the laundry rear door, and the old storage shed lock. The night sergeant claimed the keys were kept for emergency access, but the official key register had no record of them. Military police then searched the old shed floor and found drag marks under a layer of fresh straw. The prisoners were moved away from the area, but several saw the marks before guards could block the view, and rumors of secret removals spread across the compound. The captain suspended the night sergeant and 2 guards from duty, then moved all witnesses into a protected barracks near the infirmary. By sunset, the camp no longer believed men were escaping because the evidence pointed to a hidden route, missing witnesses, and a guard system that had been operating outside the records. The prisoners expected search dogs, and the guards expected another written inspection, but Patton's staff car came through the gate before the noon count and stopped beside the storage shed where the boots had been found. Patton stepped out before the driver moved, looked at the empty boots, then ordered the hidden service passage opened in front of the entire command staff. The reversal began when the accused night sergeant expected Patton to blame German prisoners for staging disappearances, but Patton ordered the protected witnesses brought forward instead. One witness identified the service passage door and said he had heard men moving behind the storage wall after lights out on more than one night. Another described seeing the second missing prisoner taken toward the laundry by guards who were not on the posted roster. Patton ordered the roster placed beside the secret key ring, then made the captain read both aloud to show every mismatch. The night sergeant tried to say the prisoners were lying to cover escape attempts, but Patton pointed to the untouched fence and asked why every escape left evidence inside the camp, but none outside it. The question ended the escape story more sharply than any accusation. Patton then ordered the passage sealed under military police control and every witness removed from barracks leadership reach. He said the line that every guard remembered: "A man does not disappear from a prison unless someone opens the door." The reversal was complete because the missing prisoners were no longer treated as escapees, and the men controlling the doors became the center of the investigation. Before leaving the shed, Patton ordered the empty boots placed on the evidence table until the missing men were accounted for. The final irreversible event came that night, when military police followed the service passage beyond the storage shed and discovered a covered loading slot behind stacked coal sacks. The slot opened toward a disused wagon lane between the inner fence and the supply yard, where a truck could stop without being seen from the main tower. Fresh tire marks showed the lane had been used recently, even though no supply movement was scheduled after dark. At dawn, MPs stopped a camp maintenance truck leaving the supply yard and found a hidden compartment beneath loose canvas and spare boards. Inside were 2 prisoner coats, a medical form, and a notebook listing 3 names marked for removal. The first missing prisoner's name was crossed out, the second circled, and the third written beside the word witness. The captain ordered the driver arrested, and under questioning he admitted the missing men had been taken to an abandoned farm storehouse under orders from the night sergeant. Military police reached the storehouse before noon and found all 3 prisoners alive, weak, tied, and hidden in a back room with water tins and old blankets. The prisoners were returned to camp under medical guard, and the entire compound watched the ambulance pass through the gate. The night sergeant, the truck driver, and 2 guards were loaded into a military police vehicle for removal and formal charges. After the truck left, the captain ordered the service passage bricked shut, the hidden loading slot destroyed, and the old wagon lane fenced off. By evening, the disappearances had ended not with a search party finding escapees, but with a prison camp discovering the door through which its own guards had made men vanish. A week later, the 3 recovered prisoners stood together at morning count while the empty boots remained in the office evidence room. The storage shed wall was sealed with fresh brick, and no guard could move a prisoner without a second witness and written entry. When Patton's order was copied into the camp record, the captain underlined the final line because it explained what the camp had learned too late. No prisoner had escaped from the wire, but someone had opened a hidden way out. Most people know how World War II ended. Very few know what happened inside these prison camps. Subscribe for more untold WW2 stories.